All right, so what we're doing today, just going to go from beginning to end on how I personally get a project done in Final Cut Pro. And we're going to start right from the very beginning with importing. I know it sounds really fun, right? So the way I do it a little differently than a lot of other editors, but the very same as many other editors. And all my footage goes, before I ever open up Final Cut Pro, all my footage goes straight to an external hard drive. And I have lots of them. And I created these three fake hard drives. They're not really hard drives, but that's what we're going to call them right now, just as this example. And I have them labeled 2018 hard drive 1. And you see over here I have these as well. But 2018 hard drive 1, we're going to call that your external hard drive. So double click on that. And you see inside of that hard drive, I have 12 folders. Now these 12 folders correspond to the months of the year. So 2018-01, that's January, February, March, April, May, June, July, and so on. This is October. So the footage we're going to bring in today is going to be right here in 2018-11. So that represents October. And you might wonder why I have the year first, then the month. Well, because I do all my stuff year, month, day when I'm labeling, and I'll show you that right now. New folder, and then we'll go 2018, 11 is the month, and then today's date is the 22nd. So we'll just hit enter, and that is our folder, 2018, 11, 22. Now, there's more to it on top of that. So you want to not just put the date, but you want to put a couple keywords on here. So I'll put fall leaves drone video. Boom, there we go. So 2018 11 22 fall leaves drone video. And the reason I put that date first is because that'll automatically sort by date in the right order everything that I do here. So I'm sorted by date and keywords. So we'll double click on here, new folder, and we'll call this drone video. And the reason I always put a new folder in here, even if I only have drone video, is because sometimes I will have stills, sometimes I will have audio, and in fact in this case I will have music, and then new folder, and I will have completed exports. So these are the folders I generally create. If I have multiple cameras on this, I'll have folders labeled for each one of those cameras. Now, sounds like it might be getting a little complicated, but it's not really. You just want to create a folder for each type of media and have a place to put all your exports. So now I'm going to open this SD card from the drone into a new window. So I right clicked, open a new tab, and then I drag that tab over to create a new window. That just makes it easier for me to kind of sort. I'm going to double click on this, That's not the one I want. This. All right. So I left these on here just for the purposes of this video. So we're just going to highlight the ones we want. And there we go. So there we go. We've highlighted everything we want. Now we will take this footage, bring it over to drone video, and let go. And now you can see right here that it's importing. So I'll see you in a couple minutes. All right, so here we go. All the files have been transferred over to this folder. So I'm going to get rid of this folder, and we're going to take a look at all these. And one thing I like to do before I start actually opening up Final Cut, I like renaming everything. So just highlight everything, right click, rename 31 items, And I'm going to use the same naming structure that I used for the folder. So 2018, 11, so it'll be year, month, day, 22. And then I'm going to put drone, video, fall, leaves. And then I'm going to put the location here, the flats. And the flats is just a local place near me. So then I'm going to put a space after that, and we're going to start numbers at 1. We're going to rename. You should at least rename, get rid of the camera name, put like a little bit of a descriptive name there, because it just makes life a whole heck of a lot easier. All right, so we have Final Cut open, and if this is your first time opening Final Cut Pro, you'll see that you have an untitled library. What we're going to do is we're just gonna close that library, and we're gonna click on the Open Library button, and then we're going to create a new library. And I also like putting my libraries into my external drive, and I don't like keeping them on the internal hard drive, so we're going to select the external hard drive. And let's see, we're going to go back here, hard drive 1, that's where we're keeping all this stuff. And we're going to create a new folder, and we're going to call that Final Cut Pro Libraries. And up here we are going to name the library that we're creating right now, and I'm going to call it, using my typical naming convention, I'm going to call it 2018 11 22. And then I'm going to put the basic description here. Fall, leaves, drone, video. And I'm going to click Save. All right, so now we have a new library, and you see that we have the library right here. We have Smart Collections and our first event, which is automatically there, and that's just today's date, 11/22/18. So first thing we're going to do is import media, and we're going to go to that hard drive. Let's see, hard drive 1. And you can see that I have this as just an example here, but we're going to go into that hard drive 1. Then we're going to go into the folder we created for the month of October 2018-11. Then we're going to drop that down and click on drone video, which is where we have all these videos saved. But I'm just going to click on the folder, and then I'm going to click on create new event over here, and we're going to name the event drone video. Now, if you have multiple cameras and stuff like that, I usually, me personally, I create new events for each camera, but events are really cool because they're flexible and you can make them your own. Now, one thing I always have checked is leave files in place. I don't want to copy these files to my library. I want to leave them right in place. And the reason I want to do that is because they're already imported. You can import keywords from the Finder tags and folders. That's fine. I don't create optimized or proxy media. I have a computer that doesn't really need it, but if you have a lower end computer or an older computer, you might want to select create proxy media. That will take some time. And I don't do any of the analysis or anything like that. I just don't. So now we're going to click import selected, and I have this thing, the close window after starting import. I have that unchecked so it doesn't close. I have to manually close it because sometimes I like importing a bunch of different footage and creating new library or new events for different things. All right, so now we are in Final Cut Pro, and I'm going to go ahead and make this larger. So in Final Cut Pro, you have a bunch of different things here. One, you have your browser, and by default it is in thumbnail view, so you can just skim over things. And you have your viewer. This is your main viewer right here. You have your inspector that gives you all the information. That's where you make all your changes. Down here you have your timeline, and over here you have all your effects and stuff like that. You notice up in the top. We're going to focus on this browser right now. So if you go to Window and then Workspaces, I like starting out with the Organize workspace, because what that does is it gives me my viewer over here and it gives me my browser over here, and we have an inspector over here, but we can close that just by tapping on the little lines. One of the most important parts of Final Cut is your organization and your keywords and your setting in and out points and stuff like that. Now, a lot of people don't do this. I do. I find it makes my editing way faster. So first things first, what you want to do is you want to go through and create in and out points and favorite all your favorite clips. So for drone footage, sometimes I don't start and stop the way you should. So sometimes I like to just leave a clip run and then, you know, sort out that clip later. And in Final Cut Pro, you can do that. You can in Final Cut Pro, you can set in and out points and have multiple clips per clip, if you will. And I'll show you how to do that right now, or I'll show you what I mean right now. So we're going to hit I to set an endpoint. And then using J, K, and L, we're going to go forward or backwards. And let's see. You know what? I want to set my endpoint right here. And I'm going to use L to go forward. And I'm going to wait till, I don't know, let's say right about there. Well, maybe a little later. Right about there. That's where I want my out point, so I'm going to hit O. So I'm going to set my in point with the I, set my out point with O, and then I'm going to hit the F button. You see that little green line right here? Hitting F means that's a favorite clip, and I'll show you how to use those in a few minutes. So now I'm going to skim, and see, there we go. Here's a nice little clip. So I'm going to hit in and out F. Now keep in mind that's a favorite section of this one clip. So now we have two favorites. Now we're going to go a little further into that clip, and let's set an in point right here and an out point right there. We'll favorite it, and see, move over to the next clip, and we have this little, we'll go in, out, favorite, and then let's see, still following along this, go in, out, favorite, in, out, favorite, and right now I'm using my mouse to like quickly skim. So let's see, here we go, this one's kind of cool, in, out, favorite, in, out, favorite. All right, for the sake of time, I'm not going to go through and do all of this. Right now what we're going to do is up here, you see where it says hide rejected? You're going to hit that, and we're going to go down and just look at favorites. You could also hit Control F, and that'll do the same thing. So now it'll show you all of our individual favorite sections of clips, whether, you know, regardless of what part of the clip they're in. So these are all of our favorites. You can keyword these as well. So in order to keywording is actually pretty important. It's something that I do a lot. So I'm going to hit Command K, and that's going to bring up my keywords. And it's good to write these down too. So take a piece of paper, write down your keywords first, and then type them into here. So put let's see, fall is an obvious keyword. shot, high shot, let's see, river, and what other keywords? Town, let's see, reflections. Now these are all keywords that should have something to do with your video. So now that you have these keywords here, you can assign them. So this one, this clip that we're in right here, you can simply go fall. That's going to assign that keyword. And then this is a lower shot. You don't see the river, so we're not going to put the river or town or reflections or anything like that. So that's the keywords for this one. This one is going to be fall, low shot, river, and let's see, do we see the town in here? No, we don't really see the town. Not enough to make it a keyword. But you do see some reflections, so we're going to put reflections in there too. And then this one, this third clip, is a high shot. It's obviously fall. Most of these are going to be labeled as fall. Maybe that's just redundant. I shouldn't have put that one in there, but whatever. Yeah, you can also see the river, and in this shot, the town is still not dominant enough to be keyworded, in my opinion. However, this third shot is a high shot. As the river, it's fall, and you can see the town, but I don't personally think the reflections are big enough to get keyworded. This one, so we're on our fifth clip now. We're going to label that fall, high shot, river. Don't see much of the town there. There's some in the background, but the reflections, I think, are the predominant part of this one. So we can go here to this one is another high shot. The town takes up a whole third of this one, so we look at the town, river, see some reflections. And the same here, we go fall, high shot, river, town, and reflections are not dominant here. And here, this clip, we're going to do low shot, fall, river, and again, the town is not prominent here, so I'm not going to use that. So there we go. All our clips are keyworded. Why is that important? Because over here, you can click on all video, then double click, and we'll get rid of these two. And we'll go this little drop down box and we'll hit keywords. Now, here's the cool thing. So let's uncheck all of these keywords. Let's say we want to look at only the high shots. These are all the high shots. Now let's say only the high shots which feature reflections. In fact, we'll switch this to include all. So only high shots that include reflections. So maybe only high shots that include the town. Let's look at only low shots with the river. So these are two low shots that have the river in them. So that's why these keywords are so important. So if you're looking for a shot, you can find it really easily. So X that out. We're going to go back into the drone video event over here. Now we're going to get into editing. So you've done all your organization. Now we're going to edit. So now we're going to edit. So go right into the where we changed workspaces before, window, then we're going to go to workspaces, and we're going to go ahead and hit default. And that's going to change our whole workspace. Now over here we are in the drone video event that we created, and we have favorites showing. So just favorites. These are the ones that we set our in and out points. Down here, you have your timeline. So we're going to hit New Project. And then you're going to title your project. So this is the video that you want to make. We're going to call this Fall Drone. We're going to call this Fall Drone Video in Plymouth, PA. And I'm going to set this to 2398. 4K is good for me, but I would like to use the 3840 by 2160. Over time, you'll get familiar with all this stuff. It doesn't take long. Audio, stereo, all that kind of stuff. So, and we're going to create this. We're going to create this right here in this event, and click OK. And boom! Now you see in our event. So in your event, you have your fall drone video in Plymouth, PA, and you see a new timeline is opened up. Now, since you've already set your in and out points for all these clips, you can highlight everything, and you can highlight it by clicking the first one, shift, click, and you'll click the last one, and you could just say E, and that'll drop everything right into your timeline. And you know this is all good stuff because you set in and out points already. So we've entered all this into the timeline. So now we want to add some music to here. So I'm going to create a new event, and I'm going to call this event music. And now I'm going to open up a Finder window, and I'm going to go to where I keep all my music. Now your music can be kept in a separate place or whatever. And I'm going to find, pardon the complete mess of organization here. Let's see. There we go. We'll just use this song for the sake of using that song. So I'm just going to drag that right into the timeline. Now we could play it and see what it looks like. So not bad. It looks pretty cool. We have some music and everything, and generally you don't want to have a clip. Like this first clip is 31 seconds. You don't want to have a clip that long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that music, right? And I'm going to, now that it's selected, you can tell that a clip is selected because it's yellow. I'm going to hit the space bar to start playing the music, and then I'm going to use M to mark that music. So mark place is where I want to cut. So we're going to hit the space bar. Alright, so we have some basic marker selections, and I'm not going to edit this whole video down. I'll shorten it in a second. But so now you can, if you have a trackpad, you could just pinch to zoom in. If you don't have a trackpad, you can hit this, and you can zoom in with the plus and minus right here. You can set your clip heights and how tall or narrow you want the clips. But for this sake, I always use a trackpad. It is what it is. So now we have our cut points. So we know where we want to cut this video. I'm going to select this clip. I'm going to hit Command B, and that's going to cut it right there. And just for the heck of it, I'm going to take a clip from back here and just rearrange. Boom. Command B. Put it back there, etc. And it's all up to you. So and then set another cut point right here. Command B. I'll take that and throw it right here. So and then you just continue organizing things the way you want. You tell the story that you want to tell. And so for the sake of this video, I'm going to quickly just go through and let's see. I'm just going to quickly go through and create some cuts. And then I'm just gonna delete all those. We'll grab the edge of this audio and we'll just fade it. Right click, fade it with an S curve, and you're gonna learn more and more and more as time goes on about how you want, about different transitions and effects. I usually just use clean cuts, so let's play this real quick. Let's call this a basic edit, right? You see I faded that out. Now, what you could do is head over to your titles and I won't go to all titles because I have a lot of titles in here that other people don't have. So let's go to like build in or build out, and let's say we pick out a general title that is already in Final Cut, and you could just skim over and see what things are. You could do these weird fancy ones. I like keeping things basic, so I'm just gonna take a title and subtitle and drag it down to here and select that, and we'll expand that a little bit. Select it right there and go into here, tap on your title. Over here in your inspector, you'll just call it, put your name on it, or like whatever you want to do, like whatever tag you want. I usually just put Jonathan Edwards, and then Jonathan Edwards, and then on the subtitle we'll put, I don't know, 2018. You can put whatever you want. There's no rhyme or reason for any of this. If you want to transition these little triangle things, you can, maybe do a cross dissolve between this and see. So you have your very first basic edit. And if you want, you can go back over to titles, and let's put a title on that first clip. We'll trim it to end on that first clip, and we'll just go into the inspector here, and the first line is going to be Plymouth, Pennsylvania, and let's see, where's that second line? And then our subtitle shows up right here. Let's double click on that, go into the inspector, and we'll type in fall 2018. So, this is one of those. Yeah, that looks kind of cool. So this is one of those preset templates, and you could change all kinds of things. You'll learn all of this as you go along. I'm actually going to put a drop shadow on this, because just to separate it from the background a little bit. So now let's call this our very first video. Now we're going to export it. You're going to hit the little thing right here. It's going to export, and I'm going to export it as a 4K video. And you see how it already has all the tags and keywords and everything? That's kind of cool. Settings, you don't really have to play with these unless you're exporting in 1080p. Then you can select best quality or whatever. Then we're going to click next, and I like the name that I already gave it, so I'm going to go into the hard drive where we're saving all this stuff. Hard drive 1, And then we're going to go into the month. So 2018-11. And we're going to double click. And you know that folder we created earlier called completed exports? That's where we're going to put this video. Now once you click next, it will, that big dialog window will disappear, and then now you're exporting. Hit this button right here and you'll see the progress of your export. So alright, now our export is over. It's finished. So we can X this out. And now we can close Final Cut Pro. Just hit Command Q. Then we can go back into our hard drive and we'll open up the folder where we have all this stuff, completed exports, and boom, there's your fully exported video. So editing in Final Cut is super easy, and over time you'll get faster and faster, you'll learn more and more, but this is the absolute essential basics that you need to know to get started.